Great, because no one was running out. All right, so back up and migrate. Let's say you got, like I said, I got a couple different file types you can save it as. You can have those run at certain intervals so that you can come back and restore those. It could have, there's another module that has some similarity called demo, but that was usually set up to run and reset the site for, again, demonstration purposes. But backup and migrate, great for anyone kind of new and building the site. So when you break things, you can revert back. Webform. How many of you here have programmed in the past a PHP or some sort of form to collect data? You guys done that before? No. I, again, not a programmer, so to me, Webform is really kind of vital to being able to do some of the more advanced things and collect the more advanced data. But unfortunately, by default, what Drupal is going to give you is more of just a basic, hey, give me your name, give me your email address, what do you want to tell me? I mean, that's what you get. It does have a contact form. It's very, very basic. It will send it out via email, but there's not like a way to come back and check those later. There's, it's just a form submittal. What Webform does is really kind of take that to the next level and say, okay, what specific data do I need to get from the user? What information do I need to be provided? And so you can get much more information. So here's an example of one where you can see the same type of data. There's many more fields, and different types that they can all input there, and then that is storable into a database. Obviously, it's still going to have the email capability, so it lets you get notified. You can have 3 or 4 people, however many you want, be notified about that. You can come back and edit those. You can actually export them into an Excel file. So Webform is going to take what the core functionality from the contact form does and really expand that, and you can see some pretty advanced stuff in what you can collect there. I will give one warning in that if you start to need to have that data be sortable, you're going to even need to go beyond that and start looking at creating a specific node type and some CCK fields. But majority of the time, the web form will really work great for giving you the more advanced than just a basic contact form. Maybe let you guys read that while I. Now we'll look at a couple of different usability modules. Now one of the things that, obviously all of these modules have some sort of usability component to them. They're taking things that could be done better from the core and expanding upon them. But these are specifically, this is their primary function is usability in how they're built. And module info. Obviously, I said there's 4,500 modules that are out there. I look at a ton of them. You plug them in. Sometimes they're not built as well as others and not documented as well. So what you'll find is the instructions for how to use them, how to set them up, aren't easy to get to. What module info does is it adds basically information specific to the module you put in on where to go and make those configurations. If I need to adjust the settings, if I need to do permissions, if it made some additional changes in the system. So here's a little screenshot of kind of what that would look like. So as you're on the back end, you've got the JavaScript functionality where it'll just slide out there, and you can see the actual different pieces of content that are associated, or excuse me, the different configurations that are associated with that particular module. Some of this functionality I'm starting to see a little bit in Drupal 7. I'm not super familiar with 7 at this point, at least not as well as I should be. But I've seen some things where you've got more detail on the modules page in D7. And so some stuff that's similar to like this. It makes it very nice. And again, if the module developer didn't put enough documentation in there, it's nice to have some of these tools to kind of know where you need to go. String overrides. String overrides essentially allows you the opportunity to change any of the information that's served through a T function within the website. And so anything it's really more admin, backend style data, things like that, are all going to be passed through the T functions. And you can do a little bit more research into that. I don't want to get into too much into the T functions specifically, but that's the type of data that you can change. And a good example of that would be if I went into my site, and I don't know how well you can read this, but what you'll see here is Guess this doesn't come out. Does it come out?
Yeah, that's
Yeah. All right. All right. So what you'll see here is that I found a T function within the site, and it's, basically normally it'll say, hey, this page of whatever your title is has been created, and you can see that up there, and then you can replace that with, hey, your rocking type or page or what have you named title has been built. You rock. So you see as that is created, your rocking page named Double Rainbow Check It Out has been built. You rock. So you can customize some of these things. You know, again, this is probably a little bit more on the advanced side, but when you get into community-based sites and things that are very specific, getting beyond just the default information and what you provide your users is going to be really important. So I really like this module, and again, it's probably more just for its site builders. I know that I didn't point that out earlier, but you'll see at the bottom I kind of highlight who specifically is going to get the most use out of these modules. I'll hold the mic. Login Toboggan. Login Toboggan is basically going to give you advanced capabilities for how a user and what a user can use to log into the website, where they go with the site, and so forth. So instead of just providing a default email address and then waiting to get, okay, here's your link, now you go log back in, confirm your account, set your password, and do all those things, they can actually create their password at the point of login the first time and be logged into the website. So there's various settings within there that you can create. They also are not forced to have to log in through just a username. So if you wanted to set it up to where someone could log in by their email address, you now have those type of capabilities. So if you're having a community-based site, anything where there always going to be a lot of user interaction, sometimes people forget their usernames, or there's a similar username that they're having to change or something like that. Being able to log in by their email address is a nice functionality to add. Inline Ajax search. If you're familiar with Google, I hope everybody here is. Everybody heard of Google? They actually launched a functionality recently called their instant search, which is pretty cool. As you start typing things out, you get some options on there for places. Hey, this is what we're suggesting. Some of those give some weird results, but they're basically trying to ease the user experience and make it where, hey, this is oh yeah, that's what I'm looking for. So this type of functionality is similar in how it works on the Ajax search. So as a user starts to type the specific information up there, you see a drop down of other pieces of information that have those same that same wording in there. So they're really based on titles. You can set whether that's titles, whether that's tags, and so forth, and kind of go through and find the right pieces. Very simple, very clean. Probably not optimal for a site with several 100,000 users because you are talking about database queries. And I'm not familiar with how it works on caching, so something that I would take a look at if you are going to have, if it could end up being a strain on your database, but ultimately, if you're not having, if you don't have a heavily trafficked site, it could be something really nice for them. Drag and drop uploads. Once again, probably more of the self-explanatory style of module. You're familiar with, folders, windows, anything like that. You put them from one area to the next. Don't really need to explain to you guys how drag and drop works, but how it functions within Drupal is you basically drag it into the body area of the site, and then it will input that into a specified area which you have set up. So it can be within the body and just show up right there, or it could also function within CCK fields. So if you set up a specific CCK field, it will actually map it to that field. It runs a little JavaScript, so you'll see that actually uploading there. Yeah, very simple, but a nice usability piece. Again, when people are actually adding content versus having to browse and try and find where they put it. Oh, it's on my desktop and I drag it right over. Quiz module. Anybody ever worked on a testing site or something like that where you have testing functionality on a website, had somebody looking for that? That's essentially what Quiz module does. Quiz module is probably my favorite module that I found, in that it is very complex. It's very well thought out. Really, I've had several clients that were looking for this type of functionality, and it went beyond, over and above kind of what they were looking for already. In that, you know, they could do certain randomization of things. They had time limits for how specific pieces were set up. There is different pass-fail ratings, so you set all that. So you go through a sophisticated system of, okay, this is how the test is going to be configured, this is how I'm going to grade it, and even to the extent of having the test be randomized. So you could input 50 questions, excuse me, and say we only want to display 40 questions to people taking the test. It will randomize the 40 each time from the pool of 50 you have in there. So no two individuals are going to take the same test, making it very difficult for them to actually cheat on the test. You have true, false, you have multiple choice, you have short answer, long answer. So from the perspective of building an online